It is Zeron for Terrible, Terrible Damage, bringing you Game 5 of a series between our two players. We'll start with the introductions with our green Terran in the bottom left. He is Zachling. And in the upper right, we have the blue Protoss AngryProbe. Now, AngryProbe is up 3-1 in this series of games. I don't actually know if there is a particular end goal or they're just playing a bunch of games and whatever the result is, whatever the result is. Now, we have actually seen this same draw in a previous game. AngryProbe actually plays random and is being given Protoss in this game. The one loss was on this map in the spawns as Protoss, where he went for a Forge Expand here on the low ground, and this got bunker rushed, and it didn't really work out. One of the things is you can do a Forge Expand against Terran. It's a build I really like as Protoss, but the thing is normally you don't actually put the Forge on the low ground. You're going to Forge on the high ground and then have a pylon down here and add on a cannon afterward, because the wall doesn't really help you against Terran. Terran is all ranged units, so it becomes actually more of a liability, particularly as you rely a bit more on Zealots in the early game as Protoss, and that wall only gets in their way. And it doesn't really prevent Terran's units from attacking you, unless he's just coming at you with a lot of SCVs, but not sure that's going to be too much of a worry. We have a proxy barracks just out of range of the vision of AngryProbe, so we'll see if this gets scouted. Right now, AngryProbe just getting a scout on his opponent as well. He had poked in and seen this gas. Since there is a gas, I would expect to see a tech lab on this barracks and proxy marauder push, as opposed to any sort of proxy 2-racks SCV all in, because otherwise you wouldn't be bothering with the gas and just putting all your minerals into Marines and SCVs. Now, if he's paying attention here, this barracks is very late. That's because he built this first, and he does end up spotting that barracks, and he's actually moving it to the high ground here. Now, keep in mind that there is no gateway completed. He actually goes with the gateway instead of the forge, which is a fine choice. I've actually never seen this play in response to the Forge Expand out of Protoss, so this is an interesting choice. Now, if he had gone Forge, he does have the pylon up here. He could have put a cannon down up here, and there wouldn't have been a great deal that he could have done with the Marines. You could put down an additional pylon, cover yourself back here, and wait until gateway. But in the meantime, he will continue to produce Marines. He has one Marine up here, going to be bunkering in the Marines back here. Again, no units out. Cybercore not finished. Quite a ways away from being finished, actually. A Forge is complete. We'll see if we get a cannon out of AngryProbe, versus he's going to rely on these Zealots. He can't really push in with that Zealot. If he pushed in with some probes, he could probably get in there a bit. Oh, snipes the SCV and gets out of there. A nice move. Stops that bunker from continuing production. There are no other SCVs around to help complete that, so that is a lost cause. May as well cancel that and get the minerals out of it. We actually don't have an orbital command out of Zachling. I think that would be a worthwhile investment. A couple photon cannons going down up front, one Marine trying to pick it off, but that is not going to have enough DPS to prevent from completing. 4 Marines here move from the high ground over and are actually within range of this cannon. This cannon here at the top will have to be canceled. It is canceled, but this middle cannon will complete. He is within range of the cyber core. That could be a big problem here. 5 Marines here on the high ground. I actually think he should be pulling probes to try and help deal with this. He can't lose that cyber core. He needs to get out a stalker. He doesn't even have a stalker in production. Actually produces a zealot. That is not going to be nearly as helpful, and he's going to lose the cyber core before he can get another zealot out, or get a stalker out. After that, zealot going to have to rebuild that cybernetics core, and AngryProbe is in a bit of disarray. 2 zealots here, those who will have to be microed against. Starter stepping back. AngryProbe actually takes a step back, now pulling some probes to try and help deal with this. Going to be running back to the bunker, going to create a choke in here between the bunker and the barracks, so that helping out a bit. Now going to focus down a pylon. This will supply block AngryProbe, who is now banking up quite a few minerals. Could use a couple extra gateways down here on the low ground while he rebuilds those pylons in order to not be supply blocked. But the Marines now moving in to take on these probes. They try and mineral walk through and attack, but that is just not doing enough. But the Zealots now moving in, had a surround, takes out a lot of Marines, but losing a lot of probes. We have 20 probes killed in this game so far. Now if we look at the worker count, is 18 SCVs to 11 probes, 12 now, building 2 at a time. We do not have an expansion out of Zachling, so if AngryProbe is able to hold here, he should be okay and be able to come back in this game. Takes down those Marines, and this aggression will have to stop as the barracks lifts off and will head on out of there. We have 2 tanks on the field though as he continues with this one base play. Siege tech is complete, so this will be stage 2 of this push. A very unusual push here, adding on 2 starports actually. That's really odd. A 1-1-2 I suppose. Not much support here for these siege tanks, so Marines will be able, so not Marines, Zealots. Zealots could be very strong in this position, but right now we actually only have 1 gateway. We aren't even adding on any more gateways, so this will be a big problem, and they miss each other. He doesn't even see the siege tanks. Did he catch that with the edge of the vision? No, he's moving back to attack the barracks, which is rallying Marines. Oh, he's going to show his hand though and pull back with these Marines and siege tanks. Siege up here on the high ground. This stalker will get away, but the army supply is way in favor of Zachling. 19-2. 4 gateways coming up, but are they in time? They are very late. They are only 2 of them only halfway complete. 2 only a 20% completion rate. He is in big trouble. These siege tanks will be able to siege up and lay waste to this front wall. This upgrade being chrono boosted. Will he be able to get out +1 in time? That is questionable as the cannons go down immediately, and the siege tanks now focus on this forge, but the unsiege and move forward as there's nothing here. Putting down a bunker in front of the wall, not even necessary. That's probably not even necessary. The forge looks like it will go down before that +1 is able to complete. 20 seconds away, and it does go down. No +1 out of AngryProbe. He does have his gateways completed. 4 gates with a 5th coming up now after losing that gateway on the low ground. 3 stalkers from the high ground picking off units on the low ground. He wants to pick off the tank, but they move out of range, sieging up once again, and this may be an impossible position to break for AngryProbe. We may just have to sacrifice this base on the low ground, but that's another problem with walling off here at the low ground, is he's going to lose his tech, loses that cybernetics core. No more stalkers coming out of AngryProbe, only Zealots at this point, and that could be a big problem with 2-port Banshee coming out. Not going to be able to build any stalkers in response to that. Nothing's going to be able to hit those Banshees if these stalkers get taken out. The siege tanks are unsieged, able to pick off 1. The bunker is there, but he's just completely ignoring it, going right after the siege tank, take out 2 siege tanks, and now moves back out of range. So a good maneuver there, but if he loses stalkers, those aren't going to be there to take care of the Banshees. Actually putting up a missile turret. Not sure what the point of that missile turret is. Not going to help out. There aren't any DTs on the way or any air units, and not really any reasonable possibility of it in this game. Losing that cybernetics core twice in this game. Just going to push this back with gateway units. But in the meantime, we have 2 Banshees on the field with 2 more being built. 25 probes to 20 SCVs still, though. We do have a command center on the low ground being morphed into a planetary fortress, which is an interesting choice. You rarely see the planetary fortresses until at least the 4th base against Protoss as Terran. Here's an engineering bay here. Not sure what that was doing. Proxy engineering bay. New Terran versus Protoss metagame, perhaps. We have double forge coming out from AngryProbe. Do we have that cybernetics core rebuilt yet? No, we do not. It's not complete as of yet. Just completing up now. We do have a move out on the map, but we do have the 2 Banshees with 2 more following up that will not be seen, and this could be the final blow to AngryProbe, as there is nothing here. We do not have a Robo. Do we have Cloak for these Banshees? No, we do not. We do not have Cloak. So if he's able to get out a sufficient number of Stalkers, he may be able to hold this, but being already 4 Banshees on the field, that may be a bit much to ask. 2 Stalkers warping in, but they will not be nearly enough, and it looks like this Nexus will go down. We see the AngryProbe's units are pulling back, including those Zealots. The Zealots wouldn't have been able to do much anyway, as this is a planetary fortress at the natural, focusing down the Stalkers. Micro's 1 Banshee back very nicely, warping in another Stalker, but the resources just aren't there to reinforce with Stalkers. Takes out 1 Banshee, but 2 Banshees are being produced at a time, and they're killing these Stalkers just much too quickly. And this Nexus down to 115 health. Another Stalker goes down, and there is nothing left to shoot up. The Nexus goes down. Now down to 1 base for AngryProbe. He has 6 gateways, a Robo, a Twilight Council, but does not have the resources to support it and be able to get out enough Stalkers. Currently there are 6 Banshees on the field versus only 3 Stalkers and 1 Sentry. This looks like there may be no coming back at this point. We'll see what AngryProbe decides to do. I would expect 1 big final 1 base push, but nope, going to go for that expansion once again. Amazingly, AngryProbe does still have the worker advantage, 29-28, of course, with the 2 base and mules, though only mules off of 1 base. Zachling should still have the economic advantage, or he would if these SCVs were mining. They were idle for just a bit there. I heard a load up into that bunker, just 1 Marine in a bunker back at home. Perhaps a little overcautious there, as there isn't a great deal that AngryProbe can do. And with the push out, with 6 Banshees, 7 in fact, a handful of Marines and a siege tank, is there anything that AngryProbe can do? Loses a Stalker immediately. Banshees take out another, and this looks like it will be it. A cannon will complete here, and just taken out as it's warping in at the final seconds. And is there anything left? Going to snipe the siege tank, but loses a couple Stalkers. GG, AngryProbe has to leave the game, and Zachling's interesting proxy push man